It's go time for all you Aquarians out there. We have a short Aquarian period here for a big Kung Pao static electricity transformation. So let's go do it in the midst of a first quarter moon. So it's go time for the Aquarian lunar cycle, but this report is for the 15th to the 21st of February 2024. Happy Valentine's Day. Doing the recording there, and in an Aquarian style, my goals for this lunar cycle is to transform my studio. So we got a new computer, but that means all the colors are all messed up, and I didn't have time to fix those. So it looks like I'm wearing orange lipstick, whatever. And some of these, whatever looks red will represent as orange. So purple represents as pink, as you can see on this circle. I'll hopefully get that resolved by next time. But let's get this going. Let's get this report out. Yeah, we have Aquarian dominance. We have a bunch of planets in Aquarius. And that's, we'll actually lose the sun to Pisces. But even then, even after that transformation with sun going into Pisces later on in our CIRF week, it'll still feel, the backdrop will still feel very Aquarian. So we have a good full week here to get your Aquarian goals done. Because a lot of things, when these faster planets fall apart, the Aquarian energy is really going to go away quick. And I've got an energy shift report for that. So look for the ES series. Those are out on Sunday or Monday. Eventually I will get a consistent day, but not yet. And this week we have a visual that we might be looking for. Very apropos, I guess, for Valentine's Day. Mars and Venus are going to come together in Aquarius, and they will be leading the sun by about 30 degrees. And so some of you will be able to see the bringer of the light conjoined with a little speck, a little tiny bright dot Mars right next to it, because they are coming together in both azimuth and inclination. So that's really cool all week. Hopefully you'll be able to see that, weather permitting and light permitting, no matter where you are in the globe. Venus into Aquarius. We have a strong fixed air backdrop. We have Venus, Mars, and Pluto all conjunct. And then we have some squares. And when we have some squares, then we have a contraparallel, and I'll explain that, but it makes it even more conflicted. The I-Ching says fellowship, and that is very Aquarian, and it's very Venus. So Venus going into Aquarius, that makes a lot of sense. But even when the sun goes out to Pisces, that's also sort of fellowship, because Pisces is oneness. It's together. So can't we all get along? The peacemakers and the dream bot. Oh, wow. It's sort of out there in fantasy land with global psychological ops, but sort of got confirmed last night with a dream I had. Too weird, but it was all about psychological ops, and it was almost made me think that they're using dreams to program people. And I don't know, just my preliminary hypothesis, but yeah, that was crazy. All right, so there we go. Together we spark. Low congruency score, but it'll all make sense once I get through here. All right, let's get started. And a shout out to Restoration Dreams for winning the best comment and a tie with Bobby J. Restoration Dreams says, may we all find ourselves airborne on the other side, meaning Aquarius. And yes, your wish is granted this week. And Bobby J says, what an amazing time we're in. Sending blessings to all in this miraculous times, and blessings to you, Bobby J. Shout out to both of you for tying for the best comment award. You ready for the dream bot? Oh, because it doesn't want to do it. There we go. All right, zoom in. Fortitude, number 1 word. And number 3 word is psychological. The only reason I've got red arrows to fortitude and food is because of this psychological ops thing, because you got banned, pushed, demon, blade, global, and that's why I include food in there. Makes sense? Cops, revealed, hidden. That's a really Aquarian thing. Revealed what is hidden. And then we even have this word down here, CUE. How do you pronounce that? Q? Right on Q? Q? What is this? All right. And then we have the time. And there's no mistake there. These black arrows, there's quite a few of them that relate to time, including GMT, which has been in God knows how many DreamBot runs recently. So there's that. There's, I believe, a global psychological operation being identified in the collective unconscious. And you are here. We're sandwiched between a new moon. That was Aquarius new moon. And that means we're going to see a first quarter moon. And then in the next CIRF report, in addition to all the shearing energy changes next week, we have a full moon in Virgo. And this now we're down into just this week. This is from the 15th to the 21st. We start fairly high in this red, supposed to be red, might look orange, line. It maximizes basically over the weekend. Friday to Sunday is where we see the maximum just fixed air Aquarian feel and electrical. I mean, it's popping, folks. And here's why. So you got Venus going into Aquarius. You've got Venus, this black line here. We are, by the way, in between these two vertical lines. That's this week. And this black line is Venus parallel Mars. And, you know, they are coming together, which is this line. So look at, no, that's the Pluto one. It's this line right here. And you can see how it's been in the works. Venus approaching Mars this whole time. Mars already being in Aquarius. And then this parallel. So they are coming together in azimuth, but they've already been in the same inclination this whole time. So it makes it more intense. You've probably already been feeling this energy. And then once Venus enters Aquarius, it's an immediate kung pao with Pluto and Mars, and then Mercury has a square with Uranus, and you can see this inclination chart. They are exactly on the 17th. So you have Mercury square Uranus, and the aspect is exact on the 17th, and the inclination is exactly parallel on the 17th. And what that means is, and I misput the sign there, it's a contraparallel, meaning that it's extra conflicted. So Mercury square Uranus is conflicted and tense, and it's extra conflicted with this contraparallel. So we start off on Thursday. This is remember last CIRF report, we had the air versus earth, and that's still here. You got earth with 4, air with 4, and a huge amount with fixed signs. And so this is our last day of the air versus earth. Venus and Mars, as you already saw in the last chart, is still parallel and will be all week. And so just to remind you about the air versus earth, it's the abstract versus the practical. It's the intelligence versus the hardworking, aloof versus grounded, freedom versus possessions. And look at all the tension. So we start off with tension. And part of that tension is Aquarius, last day of Venus in Capricorn. So here we go. Kung Pao, Friday the 16th. This brings us to episode 1 of the Energy Shift video series. I'm not a big fan of that, but you can get some good material from there, like the description of these energies. So I encourage you to go. So I'm going to put a card up right here, hopefully. And if I don't, the link will be down below, episode 1. So go back and see a little more detail on this energy. Remember, it's going to feel like open discourse on taboo subjects, a liberating sort of mind, visionary alliances hatching futuristic daydreams. But there's a sudden shift in that we now have an Aquarian backdrop, and it's dominating. It's a highly fixed, so people are dug in, heels are dug in, not adapting. I'm not adapting for anything. I'm gonna kung pao. And it's electric. So electric number 1 is Venus and Mars coming together over Pluto in Aquarius. It's very electric, slipping into unconventional Aquarius with passion. So you got love and relationships, but they veer off the usual courses. And this energized trio is inclined to dismantle pre-existing structures. So, and I have the question: have you ever seen the bringer of the light? Bringer of the light is bright Venus. You can see her sometimes when she's leading the sun, which she is. A little bit further in this week. Well, it's just going to be about 30 degrees away from the sun. So is that enough? In my horizon, it's going to be too low for me to see. So if you've got a nice flat horizon, or if you're on the East Coast with the just coastline, man, you might be able to see this in the wee hours. And I'm going to show you a chart later on so you can get the timing down. But we've got Mercury square Uranus right here. So wonderful, eh? But we also have Mercury in conjunct Uranus. So what do we have? We have a surprise power outage. This is part of the description of this energy. The sharp tension between logical Mercury and unpredictable Uranus is like a surprise power outage. One moment you're calmly working through a plan step by step, and then suddenly all the lights go dark. Gosh, I mean, I'm already sort of feeling this with this cabling issue I'm having with my new monitors. But, you know, that's what Aquarius is, especially when you've got Mercury and Uranus colliding. Communication may experience sudden static as established ideas meet revolutionary thought, like twisting the radio dial and getting fragments of different stations. I don't do a very good representation of it, but what are you going to feel this day? This is February 16th. This is the same day, by the way. I made you think that it's probably the next day, but we're still on Friday the 16th. And the episode 1 just did Venus in Aquarius. Episode 2 then is going to be further down the road. Later on that day, we have these exact points at 9:52 Central Standard Time. Mercury and Uranus are precisely square. So unexpected disruptions in plans, communication breakdowns, offbeat, unconventional ideas, impulsiveness versus restlessness, need for mental stimulation, attraction to new technologies. So, yeah, I'm already feeling that. Eccentric and quirky behavior. All right, I skipped Saturday because we already had 2 charts and nothing really changes until February 18th when the sun goes into Pisces at 10:12 Central Standard Time. And once he dives in there, first of all, what is the image looks like this. Sort of dark. You got your flashlight on and sort of foggy. Sun's passage into imaginative and intuitive Pisces is like embarking on a dimly lit journey into the mystic waters. Where solid ground was once felt, there is now an ocean of possibilities beneath. And it might be like shining a beam into the fog, like shining a flashlight into heavy fog. And when sun does that, so the flashlights are on, can't really see ahead, sun raises his head in pride because he's been in detriment this whole time in Aquarius. So he wants to feel strong, but turns into Pisces and sees Saturn. So being humbled sort of again with discipline and more hardship. So it's been a hard ride for the ego, right? Has everybody felt that? It's been sort of hard for the ego. So otherwise we would have stood up proud and been happy to, make peace and connect with others in Pisces. But we're sort of focused in on this Saturn thing. So that's why I think the backdrop, even though air and four planets in air, 4 planets in water, still fixed strong, I'm still saying it's a Aquarian air, Aquarian fixed air backdrop for 3 reasons. Because Mercury is exalted and it's got the stress point with the ruler of Aquarius. So it's connected energetically, but in a harsh way. And then we've got the Kung Pao static electric passions with Venus, Mars, and Pluto together, all power punch. And it's about relationships and passion and getting things done, motivated. And then we've got an aspect with the sun still, even though he's off into the waters of Pisces, still tethered with a semi-sextile over to Pluto. So there's an Aquarius attachment there. And so all those reasons, I think the Aquarius is still strong. And I mentioned this before, but Sun and Pluto in a semi-sextile. So it's like, and this is the same time that Sun makes its conjunction with Saturn. So at the same time, you've got growth and transformation, but you also have sort of limitations. You got more limitations now with the ego, identity. It's hard to identify yourself and what you want. And then on Tuesday the 20th, we're still in that square alignment. And they don't feel all that positive because Mars and Venus coming together, conjunct with Pluto, are squared over to Jupiter. So it's like this want of luck, of help, of optimism, positivity, and it's hard to get. Why does this always happen to me? That might be that statement. Wednesday the 21st is a T-square on Jupiter, so this just makes that even harsher. But you can feel that shear, and the pressure tension should help you with the moon state. Moon state is past the first quarter moon, so it's go time for the Aquarius goals. And I wanted to show you really quick what the chart might look like. I'm going to order this ahead so it's not confusing. This is actually on the 22nd. This is when Mars and Venus go exact, but you can see they're not together. What I'm concerned with showing you is when Mars and Venus are just above the horizon at the same inclination. So it's the same angle looking up, and then they will be in the same direction, same azimuth, and they're roughly like 23 degrees. I hope that's enough, or is it going to be too bright? I don't know. Let me know. Someone tell me. Someone go look tomorrow morning. It's like going to be at least Central Time in my zone. It'll be 5:44 when Venus and Mars crest above the eastern horizon. And just so you know, in astrology, the eastern horizon is actually on the left side, which is sort of opposite of what most maps have. East is left. So go check that out. All right, here we go. The I-Ching It's fellowship when communal and tribal bonds unite. A group of people, great success is possible. And with those electric sparks, it's together we spark. It's fellowship. And then, sun going into Pisces helps this energy. The strongest bond is the one between two human hearts that have come to know and share each other's inner thoughts and desires. Whether separated by circumstances or fate, divided by differences of opinion, or angered by each other's behavior, if the bond is true, nothing can break it. So, the feelings according to the I-Ching this week, according to the I-Ching, feeling excluded, seeking inclusion, overcoming differences. Line suggests the potential for reconciliation, nurturing relationships, etc. So, it is time to summarize the influence. So let's do that. Zoom in. Here we go. Together we spark from February 15th to the 21st. This is the big week for the Aquarians. Enjoy it while you can and if you can. Venus and Mars may be seen visually in the early mornings, but will also be powerfully felt in the form of electrical sparks, passions igniting, big desires for control, especially since they are intensified and conjunct with Pluto. Meanwhile, exalted Mercury antagonizes Uranus to create even more electrical sparks, power outages, and static across the airwaves. This week will feel like being in Nikola Tesla's laboratory, stumbling across new technology with new magical frequencies, and feeling your hair stand on end and seeing the sparks everywhere. Imagine being in Nikola Tesla's laboratory. The mad scientist. All right, ready for the solution? The most important part of every CIRF report. We're at hexagram 30, clinging like fire. By clinging to what is natural and organic and appropriate, we gain inner freedom. Given perseverance on your part, this reading indicates success. So perseverance is the key. In spite of challenges, cling to what is luminous in yourself, in others, and life itself, never forgetting your positive attachment to the highest good. Cling to the power of light. So, coaching you what to do according to the I-Ching says, embrace your inner light, encourage individuals to tap into their inner brilliance, embody enthusiasm and passion, encourage individuals to approach their endeavors, be transformative force, act with integrity, inspire and uplift others. What does that sound like? To me, that sounds like Sagittarius. And when we put in the major influence this week, Venus going into Aquarius starts everything. And it's the biggest support for the fellowship I-Ching. And so it goes into hexagram 60 of the rave, and we get sidereal Sagittarius, which is what I think this whole hexagram 30 is about. It's very Sagittarius. But here's the rave. Limitation. We've seen this before. Venus goes into Aquarius. We need to be resourceful. The maximization of potential within limitation. And this is a match also to Saturn in Pisces, starting its conjunction with Saturn. It's about limitation, so that'll help you find your limitation. Remember, this is the solution. So let's go back to our solution and see what we got. Here we go. We have clinging like fire, which is shine your inner light. We have sidereal Sagittarius, same thing. We have the first quarter moon, same thing, like go do it. It's go time. So it's moving forward, emanating out. It's very yang. And then resourceful. Resourcefulness is not about just limitations. It's about getting as much as you can get done with regards to or including or conceptualizing or taking your limitations seriously, not dwelling or, just constantly thinking about your limitations. It's accepting your limitations, knowing what they are, but then boom, going out and getting it done. That is the resourcefulness of the rave. So with that being said, here's the overall interpretation. We are afforded a very tight and congruent triangulation this week. In fact, the solution was much higher congruent than the actual energies this week. I thought that was interesting. Literally, all of these modalities exude potential, charisma, and moving forward. The nuances begin with the rave. Start your week with recognizing and accepting any limitations you have. Find those limitations first. Then ensure there's a vision of what the Aquarian objectives you'd like to accomplish this lunar cycle. Remember, we're in Aquarian new moon lunar cycle at the first quarter moon. It's go time. So you need to have your goals accomplished, or not accomplished, but well planned, envisioned, and now you're starting your behaviors towards accomplishing those Aquarian goals. Then in Sidereal Sagittarius style, go for it. This is the week of strong mental acuity, which starts to erode in the next CIRF report. So enjoy the mental acuity that you are afforded this week, because it gets really bad next week. So as long as you know and honor your limitations, demonstrate strong self-confidence, shine an aura of charisma, brighten your inner light, emanate outwards, and get done. Don't forget to use the strong square energy for electric and innovative and transformative progress. Whew. It's a big week. All right, and here's our runes. I'm using the Gebu for the overall eclipse cycle, which is ending in April soon. But for now, it's about harmonizing and balance. And this is commensurate with the Fellowship I-Ching, though, and the Aquarian backdrop, because they're both air signs. So it's a double use here, Gebu. So anyway, and then we've got the Ingwas still from last time. It was for the transformation, but this week it's more about getting the sparks of insight from all those sparks going everywhere. The Aquarian insights that you get, the square over to Uranus, there is a tension for kind of a insightful release, a rebellious transformation. And so I want that Ingwas to really harness that power, because my divine path is right before me. There it is. There's your statement this week. My divine path is right before me. All right, let me think. Did I forget anything? Whew, it's a lot, I know. Might have to review this a couple of times, but remember the episode 1, that's kind of how we're going to use these energy shifts. The first, when I record those, is it gives you a date you can put on your calendar that says, hey, watch out for this shift. But also when it comes time for that CIRF week, we're going to refer back to it so you can get much more detail of that, and we don't have to spend that time here. All right. Well, again, happy Valentine's Day to those who are watching on the 14th of February. And enjoy the week. Harness the powers that are afforded you. And you guys take care. Power to us. All right. We will see you next week for another CIRF report. Take care.